Hey, what's going on? It's Eric Techstuffs coming back at your 381 subs. I do appreciate each and every one of you that's subbed up. It's amazing. I've never seen that many subs. So I thought this thing was broken before. I saw it, and it's actually true. So I do appreciate you all for subbing up to my channel here. Let me go ahead and turn this down and listen to WTTW while I'm starting this day off. Pretty early, actually. It's a little after 3 o'clock in the morning here, and right now it is March 6th, 2022. I do forget sometimes what year it is. This bench, it always seems the same. Doesn't matter the year. Anyway, wanted to get into what I've been busy with. Just wanted to take one moment to let you know that I have lost a dear subscriber to me, my father. He has passed this past week. But true to form, he said, please continue your channel. It was always fun to watch you struggle and have success with different projects that I had on the channel. So I will continue to do that, sir, and I do appreciate you let me be born. Anyway, regardless, we're going to get into the channel and what I've been busy with. Since the last video I uploaded, I was working with the Striker 955 version 2, but I have a ton of radios now. As you've seen, there's a ton of radios that I end up with, and I'm going to go over a couple of those radios little by little. I'll just bring these up on the bench here at once, and we can talk about them. Alright, first radio up here is the old school 2970 by RCI. This was one of the earlier, I think it's a second gen. This one doesn't have a battery in it. I believe that the first gen of 2970 had the battery in it, like the 2950. Let me know down below. Thank you so much. Also, just wanted to let you know that the amp is always on these. So when you have a 2970, even when you do the variable power all the way down, this attachment amp, and this is identical to the 2950 as far as functionality, minus at the bottom side here is just a full heatsink with an amp. So there's a lot more space. It's actually resting on the ground here on the bench. So that amp is always on. So, and I've had many people do it. They hook it right into a foot warmer and they think they can go ahead and just turn it all the way down. Foot warmer. Man, that's an old school term. So a linear amplifier device. So they turn RF power all the way down, but this amp's still pushing way too much power. So the easiest way to do that is go ahead and put a switch. So I went ahead and put a switch in the back here, just a basic toggle switch, and it also wired up. And yes, you'll see just some generic tape right here. Yes, on this channel we do sometimes use electrical tape. At the moment we're just temporarily using this tape. So yeah, I'm sure someone will say, wow, what are you doing just taping something on? This is LED. It goes through the speaker here. It's very tiny, very small comparison to the other one to make room for this amp. So the volume is not as loud out of these as I can tell. And a little bit even of this speaker is covered by the heatsink. But it is clear, so we're able to just shine a LED through it. Basically what I'm going to do is every time the switch is on, let you know that the amp is on. So if you turn that amp off, you'll get a very basic radio, and it just uses the driver in the radio itself. Oops, sorry, out of focus everywhere. Just wanted to also go over something real quick, and I'll back out a little bit. Look at all that junk on my icon. I'll actually zoom in. See all that? Just a whole bunch of junk on that. Well, I know exactly what that is, and I can fix it. You want to know what it is? Watch this. Magic. So if you have this type of interference, I'll show you magic. And you'll see, wow, all that just went completely away. You know what that is? That's my old power supplies. This was as a smaller version, but you know those brick power supplies, everyone's using LED drivers? Well, as soon as I turn mine on, it will destroy this band, and you can't hardly even hear anything. So you see that turn back on, boom, across the board. Now, not all of these are made the same. Some of them actually do have some AC filtering in it. This one obviously does not. So be very careful when you get these power supplies and you use LED driver ones. I like just getting this. I have 50 amp that I use for this, and I've used it on my Striker as well. Haven't had any major issues with it. The icon works on it. All of them work on it. But yeah, I had this one as a test. And yeah, this is another version of it, but I don't need this really either. But this all goes away as soon as I turn off that power supply. So if you're having that type of crazy interference, check your power supply and your filtering on it. Make sure you get a good power supply, something decent. I always like the old school Astron power supplies. One of my first ones was a RS12A, and it works real nice, but of course it's 12 amp surge, so it's very minimal. But yeah, 50 amp power supply is at least bare minimum what I would use for anything. You always want to have some extra buffer, extra room, run a couple of radios off of one power supply. That's a great feature, especially with the 2970. If you have one of these, you definitely have to have a good power supply with it. But we're going to go ahead and just pop the cover back on it, flip it over, see if this light works good enough. If not, I don't want to really drill holes through it, but let's just see if it shines through, and we can come up with a better solution than that. But yeah, this radio as of right now, we're going to consider almost done. So let's just put the covers back on it, put the screws to it, and power it up. Okay, we're back again. Oh man, I turned this down. Yeah, we're destroyed again with this, so let's just go ahead. Man, it's almost 4:45 in the morning. I remember about this time, especially a Sunday morning like this, it would be perfect time to be at a greasy spoon after a night out, having a very nice time. Now I'm sitting here older, playing with radios in this time of day. Interesting. All right, so we got the 2970 all buttoned up again, and we're just going to go ahead and power this one up. There we go. Now you'll see this is a 2970. It is not a 2970 DX as much as the appearance is the first version of the 2970 DX, which was the dual band with the 10 and 12 meters, and you know, not 11 of course. But now we have this one powered up, and yeah, it does manual will get you, you know, CB channels. I'm going to use this mostly on 10 meters. Now this does have, as you can see right here, it's almost a useless button. It's a split feature here. You can go ahead and use a split feature with this radio. It is, you know, set up for repeaters, but most of the repeaters now have CTCS tone boards, or the PL tones, and they always said that there was an optional piece available. I can't find instructions. I had a guy email me the same thing. Do you have any connection points to add a CTCSS tone board to this radio? Always heard about it, never saw it in operation, never saw it where it connects into the radio. So if you do know that, please leave a comment down below. I know they used to have the external Hamtronics and all that, and I talked about it in another video, but I do have Arduino, and I could pump it into this, but where would you inject that signal? The optional tone board, very elusive, but yeah, that repeater split frequency would be fine for 10 meter repeaters up on the 29 FM band. And yeah, as of now, this is kind of just a great sideband radio. But like I said, we went ahead and added a switch to the back, and yeah, this appearance shows like a DX, but yeah, it's actually cobbled together. I swear to you, this is a custom radio just based on that. The board is one. Other parts, and it was about 2 years in the making to get this all together with bits and pieces. So I finally got this operational with this amp. I was also thinking of taking this amp and putting it on my Connex 4800. May do that in the future. However, that speaker always is the limitation. Look how tiny that sucker is. And see how much covered that is right there. Oh goodness, I don't have the light on properly. There you go. You can see somewhat the holes right there. So it's still that tiny speaker, and it's still half covered up. So the sound out of this isn't the best. A lot of people always use external speakers, and of course this big amp on the bottom here is awful as well, as far as putting 10 pounds of you know what in a 5-pound bag. Yeah, this whole thing is I mean, not the best design because heat goes up, and you know, a lot of the N2s and all those, they fixed that and kind of narrowed this down, added fan cooling and that. But yeah, the first generation here is basically slapped an amp on to a 2950, and you ended up with this. It is end up being extremely heavy due to that heat sink. And inside here, of course, are two new to this, right? Same amp board that it originally had, and it had Toshiba 2290s in it, and it still does. Sorry, I don't know why I'm in past tense with that. So yeah, two Toshiba 2290s are in here. So what we wanted to basically talk about is this amp. I got the switch on, and you can see it's not the best, but I know everyone always drills holes into these radios and puts two switches here. And there is enough clearance with this amp, so I may end up doing that because it's on the back. If it's mounted somewhere, it's going to be out of reach, really. So I may end up taking that, putting a grommet for the LED, and put the toggle switch I have in the back here as well. And as you can see, there is enough clearance for you to be able to get to it and still be able to hit the buttons. So yeah, I may relocate that in the future, but as of right now, it is indicating when that is on and off on this amp, because yeah, it's always on, always on. The amp always gets power. It's actually drawn directly off the main, so if this is powered up, that amp is still getting current to it. I actually had to rewire the switch because I wired up the light to it, and when I turn it off, of course, the radio stays on. The main's in the back here. You'll see where the two tabs are that hold positive and negative that run to the amp, and then also out to the back of the radio. So that always is on. So this light, even when the power was off, was still glowing when the amp was on, so that you had to turn that off every time too. So that was kind of a pain, but good to know. And yeah, I'll probably end up doing that. What y'all's suggestions? Go ahead and put the light and switch here, or leave it kind of stock, because there is no holes in this, and that back switch was actually where that heatsink would mount, so it actually was a switch that fit directly in there, so there's no holes have been drilled in this radio, but I think that I see majority of these underneath here letting you know when the amp's off and on. So let's just go ahead. I know I'm already going to get some flack for this being long and I'm babbling, but I'm going to bring out this meter. And yeah, I know, everyone, why don't you get up there and use the bird? Which I do have up here, way up there. There's our bird setup. I do not have that set up yet. I got to actually recable that, so that's on the books. So I'm just going to use the silly meter and get a somewhat. We're not looking for accuracy. We're looking for around about, and that's what sets me apart from everybody else. I know everyone wants exact and all that, but I'm going to use a silly little meter, and I'm even going to make it very nice. We're going to turn the light on for this thing too, just so everybody can see. Oh yeah, and the light still works. Not really that well. I think that thing fell off. Anyway, let's go ahead and just go through. We're in. I have to remember the amp switch up is off, and so we have our power. Let's just start at the very bottom here and see what we're getting power wise. Audio 1 2 3 4. We're not getting much because we don't have the amp on. 1 2 3. See, we're getting a little swing, and yeah, I'm on lower sideband, and we're just going to bring it up. And this is of course with the amp off, all the way up. 1 2 3. See, you get just a little bit, like a half a watt, 2 watt, not even. I mean, this meter, but it's perfect to drive an amp now. So if you have an external amp, that's perfect. Now what we're going to do is just RF power down all the way. We're going to hit this, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit it to the 50 watt scale, which will bring us up to the next scale up here. So not this bottom set of numbers where the 0.5 is, but it'll start it there and end at 50. I'll let you know what scale we're at. Anyway, I know y'all are not idiots, just want to let someone know that may not know it that dropped by. Now you can see it glows a little bit underneath here if that with that amp on. So that's kind of, it's nice. It would work great for maybe a truck driver if it was mounted up high, but let's go ahead with the power. Now our power's all the way down, our amp is on. Let's see what we get. 1 2 3. Oh, hello. You can tell that amp's on. You can hear it click when it first starts up. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So there we are. We're peaking, getting right about 20 watts on low. And let's go mid scale. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. In the corner. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. See, we're getting a little bit of flack on this. It is not keeping up. This power supply that I have is not keeping up with this radio. So that 50 amp, not only is it dirty and splashing, it's not enough to power this one because everything is flickering and flashing when this goes. And using a good power cord right into it. But yeah, all this stuff runs off that dirty supply. And man, I didn't notice it until I started looking on these low bands, on the shortwave bands and stuff, that how much it actually just destroys the band, but it also doesn't keep up with this. Let's see what our high power is, if we can get it to go that far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're 250. We're a little over 100 watts. But I know it can do a lot more. But as you can tell, you shouldn't be keying down the radio and having it flicker. If you do, you do not have enough power. But yeah, this radio, as of right now, is pretty cool. I like it. We'll say this one's done. And I'll just bring up one other radio, and then I got all these other ones to go through next, which are Emperors in another video. But I just wanted to give an update on another radio, very special to me now. But yeah, this one is pretty much done, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put the switches in. I hate to drill holes in cabinets of these, especially on the bottom side here. But then again, if I even replace the amp with the Connex, if I put it on the Connex or something like that, yeah, you want to be able to turn that off too sometimes. You don't need a full power all the time. And it's nice to be able to just drop it out, hit that switch, and know you're not going to overdrive the radio. Nice indicator on that. Let's bring up that other radio. I'll be back a sec. And just wanted to bring this back up one last time. I did finalize everything. This is on Velcro now. And when you turn this on, this doesn't come on unless you want it with another switch on the back. And there's our CTS tone. So yeah, I could add this to that Ranger 2970. But yeah, this one here is working just fine. Got it all done for you. Sorry, old man, you did not get to see this finally completed. But in any regard, I wanted to say appreciate each and every one of you that did subscribe up to my channel, and I'm trying my best to get some good stuff on the channel. Got a lot of radios to work on over there, like those Ranger series, and we're going to go ahead and do that next in another video. And yeah, as of right now, everything's done that I needed to get done, and I've been just kind of slowly rolling through some radios, getting them all ready to go. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Been playing around on this Striker as well. I got Costa Rica, Netherlands, some other stuff on 10 meters, so it was kind of fun. So yeah, I've not been messing around with this on really on CB. Everyone on the channels, it just gets annoying after a while. It's nice to just go up to 10 meters and have some fun and talk to some people that actually want to talk. So in any regard, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for Eric Techstuffs. I do appreciate you. 73.